Hey Lakeway friends and family, Pastor Mike here with a little bit of Easter motivation for you. Today is Tuesday, it is the third day of Easter week, and I want to talk about figs, or at least a fig tree. Two of the gospel accounts, Matthew and Mark, talk about a fig tree. And again, there's a little bit of confusion with the timing. Mark has the event occurring on Monday and concluding on Tuesday, which is why we're doing it today. Matthew has the whole thing happening on Monday, all in one event. So we're going to look at the Gospel of Mark's account. It begins in chapter 11, verse 12. It says, the next morning, so that's Monday morning, as they were leaving Bethany, so they're heading back into Jerusalem. Day before was the Palm Sunday, now they're heading back. It says, Jesus was hungry. He noticed a fig tree in full leaf a little way off, so went over to see if he could find any figs. But there were only leaves because it was too early in the season for fruit. Then Jesus said to the fig tree, may no one ever eat your fruit again. And the disciples heard him say it. Now down to verse 20, it says the next morning, so it's Tuesday now. As they passed by the fig tree, they're on their way back into Jerusalem. Next morning, as they passed by the fig tree that he had cursed, the disciples noticed that it had withered from the roots up. Peter remembered what Jesus had said to the tree on the previous day, and he exclaimed, look, Rabbi, the fig tree you cursed has withered and died. And then Jesus said to the disciples, have faith in God. I tell you the truth. You can say to this mountain, may you be lifted up and thrown into the sea, and it will happen. You must really believe it will happen and have no doubt in your heart. I tell you, you can pray for anything. And if you believe that you have received it, it will be yours. It's a pretty incredible scripture, often quoted. Now, is Jesus really teaching that we get whatever we want if we have enough faith? If we just believe enough that whatever we want, we would get? Well, it certainly would seem that way. But I think most of us know in our hearts that there's got to be more to it than that. I mean, if that were the case, we wouldn't have enough room in our churches for the people lining up to get in the door, right? There'd be so many millionaires walking around. There'd be so many people walking around who should have died years ago. I mean, who doesn't want an all-you-can-eat God? Just have faith. I mean, that kind of God is very appealing. Now, here's the problem. The misunderstanding of this passage of Scripture and other similar passages, we've all heard all things are possible for those who have faith. Whatever you ask in my name, you will receive. They have been the source of many stumbling from their faith or stumbling in their faith. Now, here's what happens. People sincerely believe for something, and they pray in faith. They pray in belief. It could be for money. I know people who have given to, you got these pastors on TV, send $1,000, and if you believe in your heart that God will bless you, He'll multiply it 1,000 times. So they send $1,000 and they believe in their heart that God is going to do something. They pray for it. They're expecting $1 million back. Or more commonly, have the situations where a loved one is sick. They have cancer, a spouse, child. And one person or group of people are earnestly praying in faith, and they believe, and they're praying for healing. And then it doesn't happen. The $1 million doesn't come. The loved one passes away. And now you're left with two options. Either God lied, and who wants that God? Or you didn't have enough faith. And now you feel terrible because your loved one has passed on and it's your fault because you didn't have enough faith. Either way, it's not a good outcome. Now, we could really dive into this passage of Scripture because there's a lot in here, but I want to keep this short. So I'm going to give you the short version here. If Jesus literally meant you get whatever you want if you believe, would this event have happened in this manner? Now think about this. Jesus is hungry. He sees the fig tree. He walks up to the fig tree. He was hungry when he walked up to the fig tree. He was hungry when he walked away from the fig tree. That is not a great example if you're teaching just believe and you get. I mean, if that were the case, he would have touched the fig tree and fat, juicy, ripe figs would have appeared. I mean, Jesus had the faith to put figs on that plant. Imagine how much greater the account would have been if Jesus had caused the fig tree to bear fruit out of season. Lovely, sweet, plump figs. Turns to his disciples, have some figs, guys. Best tasting figs they ever had. You can do this. You just need to believe. I mean, that would have been a great example, but he didn't do that. He went without. He walked up to the tree hungry. He walked away from the tree hungry, because the lesson wasn't about getting what you want. The lesson was about following hungry Jesus. The tree didn't bear fruit, but Jesus continued on, hungry, straight into Jerusalem, straight into the mission, straight into the most terrible week of his life. Now, the key to all of this is in verse 22, and Jesus said to them, have faith in God. There is so much more to faith than believing for what I want. It's believing for what he wants. Jesus had faith. Jesus had faith to move mountains. Jesus had faith to raise people to life from death. He did it just a few days before. And yet just a couple of days after this event with the fig tree in Mark chapter 20, on Thursday, we find Jesus is praying, and he's praying about what's about to happen, his arrest, his torture, his crucifixion. And he's praying to his Father. It says, Abba, Father, he cried out, everything is possible for you. Please take this cup of suffering away from me. Yet I want your will to be done, not mine. Now, did Jesus believe his Father could change everything? Absolutely. He said, everything's possible for you. Did he ask his Father to change everything? Yes, he did. Did his Father change everything? No, he didn't. Why not? Because Jesus subjected his will, his desire, his want to the Father's will. Could Jesus, through faith, have walked away from what was about to happen that week? Yes. And yet what did he pray? Father, I want a different way, but not my will, but yours be done. Now here's the problem. We don't have the discipline or the wisdom that Jesus had. We are human. We are broken. If we could get anything that we asked for just because we believed, we'd be asking for all kinds of things that are not right and good. We'd persuade ourselves that they're right and good. We'd believe that they are right and good. But we don't have God's perspective. It would be, my will be done, not thy will be done. You know, when it comes to faith, the best prayer we can pray is this. Give me the faith to follow you wholeheartedly, Lord. To go where you tell me to go, Lord. To do what you tell me to do, Lord. And to do it when you tell me to do it, Lord. Give me faith to trust wholeheartedly in you, Lord. Pray that prayer and believe it, and then prove it by living it. Hey, I love you, Lakeway friends and family. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.